Trills from Radio here. In this video, I'm going to be demonstrating our brand new electric violin, or our brand new fusion modeled electric violin, I should say. Fusion modeling is a technique we've been developing for quite a while. It's really one of the new methods we're going to embed into our next generation of orchestral products. We sort of looked across the board in terms of sample products, what worked and what didn't work. And basically speaking, there's two different camps of sampling. You have the sort of traditional deep sampling camp, where what we've done in the past in terms of sampling very extensively and very deep. But you also have the whole sample modeling, physical modeling community that really prefers other methods for sampling, which are more studio-based and dry, but they have a great element of control. So we thought to ourselves, why don't we do both? Why don't we try to put both principles of sampling into one library? And this is what we call fusion modeling. And in this video, I'm going to be demonstrating predominantly our legato patches here. You can see we have three different types. We have our sustained flat, which is using principles of fusion modeling, meaning that when you, for example, go into vibrato, it'll be using other techniques for vibrato. And when you go down here to a sustained vibrato, that's actually a natural vibrato. So based on what principle of sampling you prefer, you can either use our physical modeling here or traditional deep sampling here. And we also did spiccato legato as well, so more dramatic. And I'll try to demonstrate all of them. But before we get into the whole thing about legato, let me just show you what else is in the library. First up here, we got our dynamic bowings, and they're all synced, meaning they have the same length. And we both have long and short ones. And you can see there's sort of three different dynamic variations. So you got P to mezzo to piano, mezzo to forte to mezzo, and forte to fortissimo, and so forth in two different lengths here. So that's great for just getting that more natural dynamic transition into the sound. We also have a beautiful set of very deep sample short notes from conligno to pizzicato. We did two different types of spiccato and staccato here. And if you notice here on our short options page here, we actually created something called a bow bouncer. And I'll demonstrate that in another video, but it really allows you to play very complicated string figures right on the keys, and you don't have to click multiple times. This will simply just do the repetition. So whether you want 2, 3, or 4 repetitions, you can do that. You can sync to tempo, and you can adjust the speed of it and all that. So it's a very easy way of playing short notes and very elaborate, complicated string patterns. We also have a wealth of sort of special sustain types, from harmonics to tremolos. We did trills from both half note all the way up to perfect fourth. So there's a lot of different trills, and we have a couple of demos where we are demonstrating the trills as well. We also have this wonderful tool here that allows you to blend articulations. You're going to be noticing this wrench looking tool on a lot of the pages. And we did 7 assorted bangs of special effects as well. The electric violin is awesome because you can slide and glide and do tons of really unique effects that are sort of more in the world of electro violin stuff. So there's just some wonderful effects. I'll demonstrate that in another video as well. But let's go back here to the legato. So again, the first one here is our fusion modeled violin here, and you can see there's a little bit of text here helping you to describe what it is here, and we have the natural one here and then a spiccato. But let me try to demonstrate first here what it sounds like just playing it off the bat, so you can get a little feeling for it, and then I'll try to demonstrate the different principles, and you can hear really how much a difference there is in the different sample approach. And then you can choose whatever you want, or you can blend them as well for that matter. But yeah, let's get into it. Let me just try to play a little bit here with the sustained flat, meaning our fusion model violin. And it's awesome. You can use the pitch bender to bend the note. You can sort of hear how it's bended towards the end. Let me try to play a couple of shorter phrases here using the fusion modeled and the traditional deep sample and the spiccato here, so you can hear the distinct difference between the three different principles. So starting here with our fusion model violin, and I'll demonstrate there's actually a couple of different ways of using it here. This is the generic one, meaning that I've coupled both CC11 and CC1, the vibrato and the dynamics together. I actually prefer to have this one off, but I'll demonstrate it with it on, and then I'll show you some tricks on how to really make the vibrato and legato sound smooth. But this is just a sort of generic test to show you the different principles of sampling, from fusion modeling to deep sampling, and then our dramatic spiccato as well. So let's start out here with the fusion model. And our standard deep sample, and you can see the text down here describing it as well. And you probably noticed that there was quite a difference in terms of the vibrato, and that's because this one is actually played vibrato. That's how the player would naturally do it, and vibrato samples. And the first one was using physical modeling instead to generate the vibrato. But let's try our dramatic spiccato as well here. Now, in my opinion, none of them actually sounded exactly how I wanted them to. First one sounds almost too synthetic. The second one sounds too elaborate, and the spiccato is sort of the dramatic nature, sort of limits to how you can use it. So I'm going to show you the real way of using the library, in my opinion, which is where you control the vibrato, and that's by going up to our Fusion model version here and click this guy off here. When you do that, it essentially allows you to control the vibrato yourself. So essentially moving your controller, which allows you to both bend the note and modulate the dynamics at the same time. And it allows you to create a much more real sounding type of vibrato. Let me try to play it very subtle here, and then I'll show you sort of how many different types of dynamics you can go through using this technique. And the great thing is, like, you control the vibrato. So normally, for example, you wouldn't have vibrato when you do a quick note transition. You would sort of go into the vibrato after you shifted the note. And it's just a perfect way because here you're in control and you can really make it fit your mix in that. But let me try to play a subtle version here with just a little bit of vibrato, and then I'll try to do a more dramatic version. Then I'll go a little more into how to use this technique here. It's just fantastic, actually. So that was with almost no vibrato. Let me try that again, but this time I'll repeat the motif and I'll slowly just move my mod wheel up so you can really hear like the dramatic transition dynamics and how fluent it is. There's no overlap or notable crossfading. It's just a completely fluent transition dynamics. And then once we're done with that, we'll get a little more into really how to use the fusion modeling. And pay close attention to the dynamics button here. You can see sort of wiggle back and forth, and that's essentially just me in real time moving the mod wheel up and down to mimic the vibrato, and a little bit to the side of the pitch bender as well. So just a massive range of dynamics where you can really express from the very subtle to the very dynamic as well. One of the unique aspects about the library as well, obviously we got legato controls here. We actually have ensembles, so if you want to add and create like small electric violin ensembles, you can click here, get 2 or 3 violins. We also have fusion model artifacts here. You can control the volume of them, but essentially just small X noises and a variety of other small artifacts that'll help generate a more realistic sound and do slight off-tuning and a variety of small tricks underneath the hood. And you can control the volume of them here, and there's more about in the manual how that really works. We also created a unique effects section here, which is pretty cool. These are effects that really lends themselves well to electric violin. So if you want a little bit screamo or distortion, let me try to add a little bit here. You can do that and really get like sort of dial in the right sound you want for a specific mix. We also have our chaos effects engine here, so you both have arpeggiator and all our dual convolutions and all that. And you probably noticed in the demo here as well that I got a stereo delay going on. I'm using our built-in stereo delay here, which is perfect for the violin, and then just add a little bit on the highs and the EQ. Let me try to play a phrase here using a little bit of the effects here so you can get a feeling for the sort of more rock star sounding electro violin. So you can go completely bonkers if you start combining those effects with our chaos effects as well. Can take it to different planets, but in this video I'm going to stay on planet Earth. I should also mention that this is actually a 5-string electric violin, so the notes go deeper, and it's not just that which struts them. This was an actual 5-string violin, so you got a beautiful almost viola sounding bottom in it, which I really think is beautiful. It just gives a more leverage to the instrument, almost cello-like at times. But another aspect here of the fusion modeling I should also mention, which I think is one of the most important features and something that we'll be embedding moving forward, is that you can do fluent note repetitions. It's something we call flowbow, and we actually introduced it in our drum library, ironically, our Zeus drum library over a year ago, where we did flow notes for cymbals, where you get a fluent note transition every time you hit the cymbal and they don't sort of overlap and like they would normally do in sampling. But the flowbow is essentially the same principle as a Luray, meaning you get fluid note transitions. I've always been, with string libraries, I always be like, the most common notion is that you play up and down or back and forth, and you generate the same note, like da 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 da, but you can't do that on libraries. So anytime you hear any mock-ups, they never use note repetitions. They always change the melody in each note, and I was like, damn, this is almost insulting to string writing because it's so common to do it. So we did it. And flowbow is just a part of the principle of fusion modeling. So it's very simple. You hold down the sustain key and you play the same note a couple of times, and there you go. It's probably easier if I just demonstrate it. So super simple. Essentially, I just hold down the sustain key and play the same note as much as I want. And you heard me add vibrato in the end as well. So if you can imagine, the concept with fusion modeling is that everything is available on the keys. There's no CCs, there's no fancy like extra things you have to do. You essentially just play. If you want to do repeated notes, hold down your sustain pedal. If you want to do real sounding vibrato, you just start swinging your mod wheel or your pitch bender a little bit, and there you go. And it's the most expressive solo string I've ever played. It's just another level, and we'll be revealing a lot more fusion modeling and more advanced features moving forward. This is just a little glimpse into what we're working on. But let me just do a little more here with that. I think it's just fascinating. So we've never been able to do repeated notes like just off the keys. So let me try to do a few more things here and perhaps a little more acrobatic. Let me just try one more thing here. I'll repeat the notes a couple times, and then I'll just try to do something very acrobatic as well. One of the great things about the library and the way we program the legato, particularly for the fusion modeling, is that you can play as fast as you want, and you can play as soft as you want. We also use layer legato, meaning that if you play soft on the keys, you trigger portamento. If you play normal range, you sort of get a normal transition speed, and if you play fast, you go into fast legato. And these are actually different type of recorded legatos that we've layered in the same fashion we did for our agitato series as well. But try to check it out here. So repeated notes with sustain pedal down, and then you just play as much as you want. And the great thing about the pedal down is also that the legato is triggered. You don't have to think about overlapping notes. It's already done by the system. So just hold down the sustain pedal, and there you go. The electric violin is funny. Like, there are times, particularly when you don't use vibrato, where it almost sounds like a theremin, because it has a very stable sound due to the input signal as well, and like fact you don't have a big orchestral hall and all that around it. Let me try to play something a little more acrobatic here to really show you how fast and elaborate you can play. This is just me live on the keys, so no fuss at all, no CC craze at all. It's just playing on the keys and using the mod wheel, and that's it. So there you go. Fusion modeling. Again, control your vibrato the way you want, do repeated notes the way you want. It's all off the keys, just having fun. Let me end up here just by playing something slower and more expressive, and hope to see you in the next video. I'll be demonstrating a variety of the short notes over here and the other articulations as well. But this video here was really just to give you a little teaser and taster of how deep this library goes. It's almost 10,000 samples. So there's a lot of stuff happening underneath the hood, but the core idea is really to give you full control of the keys just with your mod wheel and your pitch bender and nothing else. And well, your sustain pedal as well, I guess. But you know, there's nothing else going on. We didn't want to have key switching, any of that, even though you can totally set it up in the library, of course, using these features. But it's really designed for you playing right out of the box, not having to think about anything else but just your playing and getting as expressive and emotional as possible. So anyway, thank you for watching. Let me just wrap it up here.